Greetings everyone. No need to check what video you're watching. I've done it again. I'm wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row, 2 videos in a row. But that does not mean this isn't a new video. You are watching a new video, new lesson. So don't check your screen. You are in the right video. I hope you are well. It is a little humid today, so I'm a little have a little glow to me because my face has some sweat on it. And humid talks about the amount of little water particles, little water bits in the air. So it's a little humid, I'm a little hot, but my kids are in the house doing rest time, and so I'm on the back porch making the video for you, which I am very happy to do. So today we are going to continue talking about the present unreal and the future real. And I know present, the unreal, the real, very confusing. If you can just remember, the unreal talks about things that are pretend, that are imaginary, that are not possible. The real talk about things that are possible, things that could actually happen. And as a quick review, before we get going on our lesson today, I wanted to review how to write the present unreal. If you remember, for the present unreal, it takes the if plus the subject plus the past tense and then a new subject, and then would plus the simple present verb. And I'll give an example of that in just a minute. Well, how about I go ahead and do that now? So, as an example, if I were president, I would bring unity to the country. Kind of goes on, but let's look for our parts. If I, subject, were, and if you remember from yesterday, in the present unreal, the be verb is always were. If I were president, why is this unreal? Well, I'm not president, and I don't want to be president, and I'm not in politics, and so it is very long. It's not very possible for me to be president. I don't want to be. So, but if I were, so I'm thinking, I'm pretending, I'm imagining what it would be like or what I would do. So we're in the unreal. This is not real. I'm not president. I don't plan on being president. But I am imagining if I were president. Why is the present unreal? If I were president, so we have our be verb in the past tense, and we're using were because we use that in the present unreal. I would plus the simple present of bring, and then bring unity to the country. Unity means to bring people together, rather than making them having different parties and making people fight against each other. However, the future real talks about real possibilities, things that could actually happen, things that might really happen. And to write a present real, if plus the subject plus present tense verb, and then the subject plus the future tense. So, an example of this. here, let's look at our example. So the if clause, if the president comes, present tense, to Dallas, he, new subject, will land, means his plane will come down on the ground, will land, future tense, at Dallas Love Field, right? So this is a possibility. Within the past 5 years, he has been to Dallas. I was at the airport when he came, when President Obama came, right? And he flew into Dallas Love Field. So it is a real possibility. And if he comes to Dallas, he will land at Dallas Love Field. This could really happen, and it does happen sometimes. He doesn't always come to Dallas, but when he does, this is what happens. So if he comes, present tense, he will land at Dallas Love Field, because it is possible, it has happened, and it will happen again in the future the next time he comes to Dallas. Okay, so I hope that helps, again, just clarify, to make clear what we're doing here with the real and unreal. And now, let's turn in our books to page 125, and let's look at that and get maybe some more practice with making sentences with the real, present, unreal, and the future real. Okay? Let's go ahead and open our pages now. Okay, now that we've opened our books to page 125, here's a picture of page 125 so that we all know that we're on the same page. Let's look at both assignments for this lesson. For part B, I'll read the directions. Talk with a partner. Take turns making sentences about Victor's real and imaginary plans for New Year's Eve. Okay, so you don't have a partner at home. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but most of you are probably working on this on your own. So instead of talking for this one, we're going to be writing. And in this assignment, I want you to really focus on the form. Focus on making a good present unreal sentence, and focus on making a good future real sentence. Okay? So that's the goal of this assignment. Writing really good future real sentences and really good present unreal sentences. Okay? In this assignment, we have two columns, a real column and an imaginary column. And I'm debating in my head whether to tell you or make you guess or decide which is which. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you which one you're going to use for each column, but if you listen closely and you listen to the examples, you will be able to decide which form of the sentence you're going to use. If you must decide if you're going to use the present unreal or the future real for the real column, and you must decide whether to use the present unreal or the future real for the imaginary column. You're only going to use one form for each column. All your real sentences are going to look alike, and all your imaginary sentences are going to look alike, okay? So, let's look at our columns. And for our first column, here, we have stay home and have a party with his friends. So your job is going to be make a sentence, a conditional sentence, real or unreal sentence, with stay home, have a party with his friends. Okay? So you may be asking, well, what is my subject going to be? The directions tell us it's about Victor. So Victor is our actor. He's going to be doing the action. And when is the action taking place? When is the action happening? It's on New Year's Eve. So, for example, if you look at our example box here, we have an example of stay home, have a party with his friends. If Victor stays home on New Year's Eve, he will have a party with his friends. Here is an example sentence from our real column. I want you to pay attention to the verbs. The verbs in this example will help you know if you are using the future real or the present unreal for our real column. Find the verb in the first example. If Victor stays, what tense is that? Let's go to the second half of the sentence. He will have a party. What tense is will have? That will tell you the answer to whether you use future real or present unreal. Okay? Good. All right. So now let's look at this example. Travel to Florida, spend New Year's Eve near the beach. This is in our imaginary column. Let's look at example B in the box again. Here. But if he traveled to Florida, you don't have to put the but. If he traveled to Florida, he would spend New Year's Eve near the beach. Okay? Let's look at the verb in the if part of the sentence. But if he traveled, what tense is that? Our second clause, he would spend. What tense is that? Is that future or is that the would plus the simple present? Right? If you can decide, if you can discern, decide what A is, if it's real, future real, or present unreal, then you will know how to do the rest of column A, or the real column. If you can understand what is going on in column B, you can do the rest of the imaginary column. Okay? So all of the real column is going to look like sentence A. All of the imaginary column is going to look like picture B. Okay? And just as a reminder, future real are things that could really happen. It's possible for them to happen. The present unreal are not going to happen. It's imaginary. It's pretend. It's an alternate, a different reality, perhaps. Okay? So hopefully those two things will help you in deciding how to do your real sentences and how to do your imaginary sentences. And hopefully the words I'm using over and over again will also help you decide if I'm going to use the real, future real, or the present unreal for the real, and the present real or future unreal, the present unreal or the future real for the imaginary. Okay? Good. Now, that's the first. I want you to make sentences. That's the first practice. And I want you to make sentences for all of those examples. So you will have, since they already did the first one for you, you will have 7 sentences to do. You should be making 7 sentences, 3 more real sentences, and 4 imaginary sentences, okay? Feel free to text me those, and I will check those for you to make sure you get your verbs correct, all right? Exercise 3. Again, communicate. Here, again, unless you have someone at home to talk to, we're going to just do sentences again. And for the directions, it says A, talk with a partner, complete the chart with your real and imaginary plans for your home, for some future holidays, or special events. Okay? So here is a good example of how we can decide between real or imaginary. So let's take the first, holiday or event. So, most of us, well, let's start with imaginary. The imaginary is be in my native country. right, for New Year's Eve. Most of us, for me, that would be my native state, but for most of us, going back to where we are from, native means the country where we are from. So going back to where we are from is not possible. But sometimes we dream, here's a good word about imaginary, it's what we dream about, what we dream we could do, what we could possibly do in our dreams, right? So if every year we have New Year's, and sometimes for those of you who have been in the United States a long time, and for those of you maybe who are new to the United States, you still think about home a lot. And you think about what would life be like now in my own country. And so that's what we're thinking about when we're thinking about the imaginary. We're dreaming about what life would be like in my native country, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do things like what they did in our example, like in our example here. We're gonna choose a holiday. They give you a holiday or event. They give you New Year's Eve, and then what really might be possible for you to do, right? You could stay home. You could go to a friend's house, right? In our dream world, in our imaginary world, maybe we would go home to our native country or state if we had all the money in the world and all the time and no rules against us traveling to different countries, right? So it's imaginary, it's a dream world. So, so the next event they give you is a birthday. Think of what do you do on your birthday? What are your choices that you do on your birthday? Maybe think about what you have done on your birthday in the past. Maybe you stay home. Maybe you celebrate with your family. Maybe you celebrate with friends. Maybe you do not celebrate, right? Then think about what do you dream? How do you dream about your birthday? If you could do anything you want on your birthday to celebrate, what would you do? Would you go on a trip? Would you go for dinner? Right? What would you do? Would you drink champagne? I don't know. Would you fly to New York? What is your dream for what you would do on your birthday? Would your husband do all the household chores? Would he cook and take care of the kids for you? Right? What is your dream for your birthday? This is what you would put in the imaginary column, right? I want you to come up with 2 more holidays or events. For our Muslim friends, maybe it is Ramadan. What are real things you do in Ramadan? Break fast with your neighbor. Eat fancy food, right? Or, so those are real examples. An imaginary, go home, celebrate in my native country. Maybe that's Syria, or Iraq, or Kurdistan, or Pakistan, right? If I were in my home country, if I were in my native country, I would what? What would you do? Right? Another idea, so you have to come up with 2. So another possibility would be become a U.S. citizen, right? That's an event. That's a thing. That's an event you can celebrate. A real possibility, I would go to lunch to celebrate. I would go to my ceremony. Imaginary. I would have all my friends at the ceremony. I would wear an American flag to the ceremony. I don't know. I'm just trying to get you to think, to dream, to be imaginative about things you could do at a ceremony, becoming a citizenship ceremony. What's another holiday or event? Christmas. What does your family do? What do you wish or dream your family could do? What about education? What is real about your education? Study English. Imaginary, graduate college. If I graduated college, I would get this job, right? I know for some of you, creative thinking, being imaginative is a little challenging, but hopefully my ideas will help you think more about what is possible with this. So, here are some examples of sentences that you could have, or a conversation you could have, and that's here at the bottom. So for instance, first let's look at the conditional, the future real. It says, so we're just, right now, all I want you to see is an example of making a future real sentence using the real event. So if I stay home, so if you look at holiday or event, the New Year's Eve event, it says, so if I stay home on New Year's Eve, I'll invite my friends to come over and celebrate with me. So you're going to have to think and add words to complete the thought. Okay? If you want to have a conversation with your husband or a child, your child could say, if you stay home on New Year's Eve, how will you celebrate? And then you would answer, if I stay home, I'll invite my friends to come over and celebrate with me. Okay? Now let's look at an imaginary conditional, imaginary and present unreal example. So let's look at first, that's too many circles, I bet. Let's look at this one first, just to get the form. If I were in my native country, see my verb is be, if I were in my native country, I would watch fireworks at night. I can't, so you have to answer what you would do. I can't tell you, you can't find the answer in the book, you're going to have to think, right? So, if I were in my native country, what would you do? I would watch fireworks at night. And if you wanted to have a conversation about that, the whole box, your husband or your child, if you were in your native country on New Year's Eve, how would you celebrate? Well, you would answer, if I were in my native country, I would watch fireworks at midnight. Okay? Again, if nothing else, if you do not do anything else, I want you to practice coming up with real examples of what you would do, say, on your birthday, or at Christmas, or Easter, or Ramadan, or becoming a U.S. citizen. I want you to come up with real examples of things you could do, you possibly could do, and then I want you also to come up with imaginary things you could do, you might do. What do you dream about doing on your birthday? What do you dream about doing at Easter, or Christmas, or Ramadan, or becoming a U.S. citizen, right? So 2 columns. First, what would you really do? And then, what do you dream about doing? What do you wish you could do? And once you have that chart, I want you really to try to make full sentences using the present real, the future real for the real column and the present unreal for the imaginary column, okay? And again, text me your answers for part B at the top and then also for part 3A at the bottom with your sentences, okay? I know it's challenging, I know it's confusing, but you can do it. I have faith in you. If you have questions, feel free to text me. Also, if you want to do something different and make a video of you reading your sentences aloud, feel free to do that as well. Feel free to be creative as you have time. I hope you're well. I hope you're staying safe and healthy. We are almost to the end. Stay strong and finish strong, and we will get there very shortly. Hope you're well, and we will talk again soon. Bye-bye.